All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, and Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, and the men of great millstone. Shalom to the Akim, if you walk out who may be listening. It's your brother Vitak from the GMS camp here in Chicago, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. Lord willing, this be edifying. All right, and you know, today we're just gonna talk about, making sure that, we constantly are trusting in the Lord and keeping our faith in the Lord, because although things are, all right at the moment, things are going to start getting worse and worse. You got these trade wars going on. You got these other various wars and skirmishes going on, in the Ukraine and the Middle East and, wherever else shit is going on at. And eventually it's going to engulf the whole world. All right. And also you got the economic collapse that's on the horizon as well. And, once that happens, it's going to be all hell. It's going to break loose. All right. So, while we're going through small battles now, it's important for us to learn how to lean on the Lord, whether it be, with your job, with your health, with your family, quote unquote, your relatives, as the Elder Murph would say. But, we're learning to lean on the Lord and trust in the Lord and learning to understand that everything is to the good, and Lord willing, we be the elect, will endure to the end and be delivered from this place. All right. But, the men that are of the elect, they're going to trust in the Lord. So that's why we need to be exercising that and training in that now, because things are not going to look, the situation is not going to look good when things start getting bad out here. And the only thing that, will keep your mind in order is if you leaning on the Lord and you just have faith and you understand that, the Lord told us what was going to happen, told us what he was going to do, and that's what's going to happen. All right, but Salakia for the rant, we're going to get these precepts. This Isaiah 26:4, trust ye in Yahweh forever, for in the strength, Salakia, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength. All right, so guess what? We're commanded to trust in the Lord as Israelite men, and like I said, only the elect in this day and time are going to be the ones that really truly trust in the Lord, because when our temptation comes and the MOTB comes, you're not going to, things are not going to look like you're going to be able to really do anything for yourself if you don't do what Esau tell you to do in that day. But, those men who are of the elect, and Lord willing, we be at that number, they're not going to fold. They're not going to bend the knee to these devils. And, some of them may have to lay their life down to prove themselves and prove their faith in the Lord. But those men will be raised first to come back and destroy this place with Yahweh Shai. So, we have to keep that faith and keep that confidence even unto death, because it's going to be rough times ahead. And, that's what the Lord is preparing us for now. That's why Sirach 2:1 tells you to prepare your soul from temptation, or for temptation. All right, because we are here to go through things. We are here to pay a debt. But also, the difference between us and these 2/3 is that, and Lord willing, we be of the 1/3. But the difference between the 1/3 and the 2/3 is that all Israelites are going to suffer. Only 1/3 are going to suffer to their benefit on this side. These 2/3 that's going to suffer, they're going to suffer, but it's going to be to their detriment, because they still going to get destroyed, including all the other suffering that they have to go through. Those are the 1/3 are going to go through the suffering they have to go through, but the Lord is going to make them stronger through that suffering and ultimately deliver them. And that's what we're hoping for. But it starts with, first and foremost, belief, faith, and, when you have faith, you're doing works to prove that. All right, so this Psalms 3:5, and it says, I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for Yahweh sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Yahweh, save me, O my power, for thou hast smitten all my enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto Yahweh. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Salah. All right, so we have to remember that all these things that are happening, is as crazy as things are going to get, as many calamities as we're going to be face to face with, the Lord is in control of all these things. All right, so all we have to do is continue to do the things that we're doing in order to prove ourselves to the Lord on a day to day. And when we come face to face with these things, Lord willing, the Lord will have mercy on us and will deliver us through all of these things, to our benefit, like I said earlier. All right. And ultimately, Lord willing, we'll receive salvation and get out of this place when the destruction comes. All right. But it all starts and finishes with the Lord, because the Lord is the one that's in control of everything, man. All right. So worrying about Esau or worrying about this person or that person, it's really, it's pointless, because they're going to do what the Lord tells them to do. All right. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9 and verse 10. And it says, "And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Yahweh, hast not forsaken them that seek thee." All right. Like the scriptures say, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. Those who run into it are saved. Roughly paraphrasing Salakia. But I think it says the righteous run into it and are saved. But nonetheless, you know, first of all, the Lord is not giving his name to everybody. And even a lot of these jakes that have heard the true name of the Lord, just because you've heard the name of the Lord doesn't mean that the Lord gave you his name in order to call on it. A lot of these jakes have heard the name of the Lord and they scoff it, they make jokes, they talk shit. They steady stuck on that JC BS. They steady stuck on that most high Christ blessed BS. And or they just godless people, man. Which is a lot of these jakes. A lot of these 2/3 are just godless individuals, or people who don't want to acknowledge Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so the fact that the Lord has even revealed his name unto us is a big deal. All right, now many are called and few are chosen. So just because you know the Lord's name don't mean that automatically you got to take it out of here. It comes with putting in work and proving yourself. But at the end of the day, having that name of the Lord is a big deal. And as long as we're in good standing with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we'll be able to call on that name and we'll be delivered from, whatever things that we're going through, and or, whatever the Lord decides is going to happen is going to happen, but it'll all be to the good. All right. But, Slakia. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 9. It says, "They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath care for his elect." All right, so, we're putting our trust in the Lord because the Lord has shown us what's actually about to happen. And everything that the Lord has said that was going to happen up to this point has happened, which lets us know that everything that the Lord said was going to happen all the way up to the end is all going to happen, man. All right. Eventually, this place is going to get shut down again with martial law. The economy is going to collapse. There's going to be a famine. There's going to be sedition among men. All the way up to this MOTB, World War III is going to happen. All right, and then Yahweh Shai is going to return, and this place is going to get destroyed with ICBM nuclear missiles and chariot fire. And when I refer to this place, I'm referring to America, not the whole earth. All right, but, because we know these things, that bolsters our faith, understanding that everything else that the Lord said that was going to happen up to this point has happened. All right, and that's why we put our trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and Lord willing, he keeps that spirit on us, and we can continue doing that, and things can be all to the good. And even when you look in your regular everyday life, it's certain things that you went through or certain things that you had to, experience that may not have been positive while you was experiencing it or going through it, but ultimately, it was all for your benefit. And, when we go through things like that in our daily life, that also increases our belief and our faith in the Lord, because, he will deliver us from certain things, or, he'll save us from certain things that we thought we wanted. And then in the end, the Lord will show us what the result of doing those things that we thought we wanted to do were, and, it shows you that the Lord has always got your back, man. All right. I'm going to get this last one and close it out. Salakia. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? All right. And that's why, that's why the Lord, left us these scriptures, man, as a record of proof, of him proving himself throughout time. All right, just the scriptures say to prove a friend, and we want to be friends of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So of course we have to prove ourselves to him. But guess what? The Lord is all about balance, and even though he's the one that's in control, even though he doesn't owe us anything, guess what? He still proves himself to us day in and day out. Just the fact that we even still exist as a nation, you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and those who are scattered abroad, whose father's line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You Israelites, just the fact that we still in existence on this earth shows that the Lord has been proving himself throughout history, man, throughout time. All right. So, the record of these scriptures is proof of that, proof of all of our forefathers who leaned on the Lord and trusted in the Lord while also doing the things that was required of them by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because it's not just a one-way street. The Lord is not just taking care of and delivering individuals that's wicked and that's doing what they want to do. All right. But when you look into these scriptures, it's a record of all of the men of the Lord of the past that was in good standing with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and how he was constantly proving himself to always have them and had a back, man. All right. So we gotta always look to that, and we always gotta have our faith. And like I said, it may be a part of your story to be a martyr, but that doesn't matter, man, because we understand that. First of all, we know reincarnation is in the scriptures and is real. We're not going to get into that right now, but we understand that. We understand that just because, we are put to death in this body that we have now, that our spirit does not die. It goes back to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and then comes back down here in another body when we come back, for another life. All right. So we're not worried about getting put to death by these devils, and we're not going to be offended in the Lord if that's a part of our story. Because at the end of the day, all the prophets, for the most part, got put to death at one point in time or another. All right. But that don't mean that the Lord forsook them. Okay. But, that's it for now. With that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the men of great millstone. Shalom to the Akim and a few Akwat who may be listening. Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Until next time, Kwam Yasharala Baba Ball.